Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily. Welcome to a brand new week. Who's up for some Monday motivation? Of course, that's what we do at the start of each and every week, is try and instill some positivity, get everybody in the right frame of mind to really push on and give it a real go. Definitely looking to do that myself. Whilst I've been really positive recently, I've mentioned that over the last week or so, really sort of picked up after the few weeks before, got really focused again, got busy, getting in lots of activity and doing all the things I love. Had a bit of a tricky end to a few days off yesterday, again, really positive, really enjoyed my few days off, my real work, but a bit of a sticky day yesterday. I happened to go out for a run, really positive, feeling really good about that. I mentioned that a lot, of course, and whilst I'm trying to encourage activity, I'm trying to set an example as well. I went out for a 10-mile run, really pleased by the fact I got up to do it. I was looking forward to doing it. Unfortunately, I picked up a little bit of an injury about halfway through. I kind of had to persevere to the end because I had to get home, and it just kind of threw me a little bit, it just kind of put me off. Also, on the back of that, a few people kind of critical of one or two things, and whilst I don't want to dwell on that, it all sort of manifests itself and put me in a bit of a tricky frame of mind, feeling a bit negative about what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to do is quickly get over that, quickly sort of get back into what I do and really sort of focus. And Monday's a great opportunity to do that, isn't it? It gives me the opportunity to plan the week ahead, look forward to DOdaily, getting back into this, getting what activity I can. I mentioned I've picked up a slight niggle, so I'm just taking it easy. And again, that's something I've definitely got to do. I've been encouraging that a lot and telling you guys how patient I've been with illnesses and injuries to this point. So I've got to remember that patience is really key in this. But like I say, just knock me back ever so slightly. By the end of the day, I'd kind of come through it. And like I say, today, been doing all the things I do, watching things, listening to things, got out for some fresh air. The weather's fantastic today. I'd love to be outside, but time is just getting the better of me a little bit. So I've got to get the video done in time to get it uploaded. But the weather's absolutely amazing. So if you can get out there, get the week off to a flyer, please make sure you do. It was so important for me to get out whilst I am struggling a little bit, with my injury, whilst I mentioned that little bit of sort of criticism yesterday. Like I said, I'm not going to dwell on it. It just sort of knocked me back. But one thing that does do, when I sit back and think about it, it just drives me forward again. We're not going to sort of please everybody all the time. And I've learned that, especially with DOdaily, some people really enjoy it. Some people get so much from it. Other people, can be quite critical and don't understand what it's about. But that's kind of what I want to talk about today. The touching on time and how we can use different things to make the most of it. The reason I've been mentioning the clock change and how we can sort of make the most of the daylight in recent weeks, when it did change like it has now, is because there's been a lot in the news. There's been a lot of press about difficult things that are hard to accept for everybody, and things that make us all sort of nervous about what we do. So what we need to do now is almost use the fact that that's not an issue. We all know it's slightly safer when it's light. It shouldn't be the case. Everybody should be able to go out there and do whatever they want at whatever time they want. But now it is daylight, it's an opportunity. Now the daylight's there longer, it's an opportunity to get out, make the most of the day and use your time, perhaps a little bit more effectively. It's important to sort of make your day work for you. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's what I've got the chance to do much more of now. And with the fact today, we lockdown restrictions have eased slightly. We can now meet in slightly larger groups. Of course, a maximum of 6 or 2 families. It's just an opportunity again, isn't it? To be positive, to look forward, to plan things in and make the absolute most of the opportunities we've got. whilst it is still a restriction, whilst it's a restriction from normal life as it was, we've got that opportunity to start thinking again about how we can work it in our favour, how we can make it work for us and how we can get all those benefits. And that's what it's about ultimately, isn't it? It's about getting the benefits of regular exercise, regular activity, focusing on a bit of health and well-being, some self-care, which I spoke about a lot in the last couple of weeks, and really making the most to take that forward. And like I say, time is something I'm going to come back to for Monday motivation. But as ever, I'll run down what else we've got on offer this week. Of course, DOdaily is just a online resource, what people can refer into as much or as little as they want. Whilst the pandemic's on, we've not been able to run the usual group sessions for me in Nottingham, but what I have done is turn some of that into an online resource where people can get involved from wherever they are. So it's absolutely open to everybody, absolutely available to all who want to look in. We run activity sessions starting tomorrow with Tuesday training. It's a virtual solidarity session. What we like to do is get out there at 6:30, encourage absolutely anyone to get involved, whatever activity they choose, wherever they are. And that's the beauty of a virtual session, isn't it? In an ever-changing world, and we know that's happening right now, why not make the most of something like this? Why not create something quite special? Come together at a time. I encourage the guys to all put a yellow t-shirt on. If you see somebody out and about, you never know, they might just be taking part too. And it's just a case of working off each other's inspiration, off each other's sort of encouragement to get out there and do it. If we set that time aside now, we're more likely to do it. And that's crucial, isn't it? Setting some time aside for yourself. Again, it's something I'm going to come back to, but it's really, really important, whilst we have got busy lives, whilst we've got home lives, work lives, whilst we're working from home or having to travel, it's really important to set some time aside, because it will help going forward. And having time when other people are doing similar things, taking part in activity, being able to look in on that, it's just that bit of fun, that bit of encouragement we might need to put us in the right frame of mind. So if you can join us for that, 6:30, I always ask, it's not essential, but if you can post in your pictures, use the social media links that are under the video, tag in Tuesday training or solidarity session, or just doing it, and I'll pick those out or share them across the story, like I say, just to sort of encourage absolutely everyone to get involved if they so wish. And that's what Tuesday training is about. Of course, I've already said, if you can get out today, make the most of this fantastic weather, please do. I always work off the mantra of never missing a Monday. If I do that, I know it's got me going from the outset, and I'm looking to build on it as the week goes on. Tomorrow, incidentally, is supposed to be absolutely amazing and around the UK, probably the hottest day of the year, mini heat wave, and it's not going to last, so make sure you join us and get involved in that. On Wednesday, we've got the Wednesday Workout Challenge. Today actually sees the end, yesterday, saw the end of the 40-day Lent challenge we created. Whilst it's not quite Easter, we had a 40-day challenge from the Wednesday after Tuesday, which of course starts Lent. What we did is do 10,000 steps a day. Lots of the guys covered so many steps. One who did the most covered 1 million steps. So that's absolutely amazing, isn't it? And overall, we've achieved way over 13 million steps. That's incredible. We set out with the intention of covering 10 million steps, so to go way above and beyond that is absolutely fantastic. It's kept people interested, it's kept people going. And for the next week up until Easter, to see out Lent officially, we're going to carry that on. Whilst it's not quite the challenge, many of the guys want to see it through to Easter. And this Wednesday, I'll be coming up with a brand new challenge. Again, it'll be based around steps. I've got a different take on it. It'll be called Last Man Standing, so there's a bit of a clue in there of what it might be. But again, it involves the 10,000 steps a day, and we're going to sort of compete off to see who can sort of see that through and be the last man standing. the Wednesday workout's just about carrying on that activity from the great start to the week on Monday and Tuesday, coming together again, sort of kind of individually, but collectively as well. That's why I talk about the numbers there, to just sort of highlight and showcase what we're doing, to show that we can keep pushing on, we can keep being positive and supportive and encouraging and active more than anything, through this pandemic and beyond. On Thursday, I've got the Thursday Thoughts live session. Of course, that'll be me at 6 o'clock answering your questions. Please post them in. Looking forward to sort of receiving those over the week. Comment on any of the videos, any of the social media. I'll pull them out. Absolutely anything you want. Whether it's about like nights, positivity, how I'm feeling. Whether it's about activity or injury or coronavirus. Absolutely anything. It's really important to post those in, guys. And all I'm trying to be there, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. All I want to do is pass on a few snippets of information, perhaps to save you a little bit of time. I listened to something today that said information collapses all time. Basically, it saves people time, doesn't it? And again, I'll touch on that a little bit later. But basically, that's all I'm trying to do. Just pass on little bits of information that I've picked up, through experience, through knowledge, or something I have to look into. I'm trying to save you a bit of time, and that's really important, isn't it? Because we all need to listen, we all need to take things on board, and sometimes just the smallest things can save you 10 minutes, sometimes they can save you 15 years, just by changing an outlook. And that's what Thursday Thoughts are all about, so please post in your questions. On Friday, I'll be waking up to walk at a different location. Of course, I put a bit of focus on using the time in the morning. You might have noticed the theme today already. Put a bit of focus on waking up early, using that extra bit of time when the day breaks, before work, before getting into the craziness of the day, and use that to sort of reflect on the week, almost let things sort of fall by the wayside and then be positive going forward. And that's what I try to do. Try not to take the stresses and strains of the week, because we all have it, whether it's a conventional week or whether you work sort of unconventionally to most people, we all have stresses and strains of the crux of what we do. So what I'm looking to do there is almost sort of come to terms with all of that, good, bad or indifferent, and then be really positive about the weekend. As somebody who really enjoys the weekend and that time to that little bit of extra time to do the things I want, that's really important for me to do. I say every week, it's one of my absolute favourites. Check back to last week, really enjoyed, again, getting somewhere different. I went to a little village outside Nottingham called Epperstone, walked around somewhere I didn't know, and just doing all those things I've just said, getting in a few miles, really sets me up and gives me that sort of encouragement to really give the day a real go. And that's what it's all about on a Friday. And then on Saturday, I'll throw it all back to you guys. Ask you to post in your Saturday selfies, whatever you're doing. If I find a theme, last week it was find the biggest clock you can, and get that in your picture. Of course, we're talking about time and such things right now. So if I find some kind of inspiration like that to use, I'll put a theme on it. Other than that, it's just you getting out there, doing your activity, showing people you're hard at it, you're giving it a go. As somebody who likes running, walking, doing all these things I do these days, I know the weekends are absolutely brilliant for that, and lots of people use them for that effect. Whilst we haven't got such things as big running events or park run where you can walk or run, it's great still to get out there, show that you can sort of keep doing it, and you keep wanting to sort of highlight that, showcase that, encourage and motivate people to get involved. And that's what it's all about on a Saturday. I was going to say Thursday then, but on a Saturday. And as I've said there, I spoke a lot about time already, so a bit conscious of the time. I'll crack on with Monday motivation. Of course, what I'm trying to do through DOdaily is almost just be an information source, somewhere people can relate to take a bit of advice, to listen in. And I think the first thing we need to sort of realise, if we want to save ourselves a bit of time, is to be humble and listen. A lot of the time we can be a little bit sort of pig-headed, a little bit abhorrent and just go full steam ahead because we know best. And I'll be honest with you, whilst I'm not an arrogant person, I'd like to think I'm not, over the last 20 years, I probably thought I know best. I've wasted a lot of time. One of my real reasons for doing this is because I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to lose time. I want to improve. I want to do the things I enjoy. And I've wasted too much of that, and I want to help people not make those choices. Whilst I probably understand the people of that age, 20 years younger than me, probably aren't the ones listening in. There's still a lot of people out there who will just go through life and not understand where they get it wrong, stress too much about certain things, worry themselves. I've mentioned so many times, 85% of worry is sort of unfounded, unnecessary. So it's important to sort of listen and take on advice where you can, isn't it? Whilst I'm not trying to preach here, like I said before about the Thursday thoughts, it's just about taking little bits of information. Here's a couple of examples. People say men won't ask for directions because they know best. Well, that's absolutely rubbish, isn't it? Because if you ask for directions, and if it's better than driving around in a circle for 15 minutes, you could easily get to where you need to be in 2 seconds. And I've been guilty of that. I'm still guilty of it a little bit, arguing with the sat nav and Kay. But it's a classic example, isn't it? In the supermarket, you go in to get one thing, and you end up walking around because you refuse to ask where it is. You might be in there 15 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes by asking the attendant where something is, just by being a bit stubborn and a bit sort of reluctant to take information on board. And there's no need for that. There's absolutely no reasonable explanation that we shouldn't be asking questions, so it's important just to sort of ask questions, but listen to what people have got to say. And like I said, whilst it might not always be relevant, I listened to a podcast a few months ago. Sylvester Stallone said he had the idea about Rocky. And somebody told him once just to keep talking because you never know, somebody might pick up on it. Somebody might just pick up on that last thing he said. And he said he was walking out the door, and he just mentioned this film he wanted to make, and he was kind of on his way out. There was shuffling him out the door because they weren't interested in his ideas. So he threw the Rocky idea in, and then somebody said, I love it, and pulled him back in, and look at the career he had on the back of that. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to have that sort of stroke of luck, but it's important, isn't it, sometimes to keep communicating, to keep talking, to keep listening. It really saves time, it really does. It really sort of, it helps us move from one thing to another. And what I hear a lot of the time is people stressed about, I haven't got enough time to do this, I haven't got enough time. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Because we don't help ourselves. In the last few years, I've been encouraging activity and people to make the most of it. And one of the benefits is, it can help with productivity. It can help you feel much better about yourself. So when people say, I've not got time to take a break from work, I've not got time to do this, well, really, you probably have, because all you're doing is creating yourself a bigger problem by not taking it. By taking too much on at once, it can clog the mind. It's been proven, again, something I've listened to, that we can only really deal with one thing at once if we're going to do it properly. I listen to the same guy every day who says he works in 25-minute batches and then takes a break, And it's interesting, isn't it? And I was having a conversation over the weekend about how I think this is the case in Sweden, or it might be something they're looking to introduce, that they've taken the working day down to 6 hours. So basically, it's about 20% less than what it is here in the UK, the working week. But productivity's gone up 25% just by sort of people being more focused on what they're doing and not tiring out or not worrying about what's in front of them. Having that more time to do the things they do, look after themselves and really focus. And that's important, isn't it? So it's so important to listen, take things on board, and understand how we can make it work for us. I touched on there about the Friday. I give myself that time just to sort of forget everything, to not worry too much about what's gone before, at least try and spin it into a positive and use it to take forward, and it does the trick for me. It makes me look forward to the weekend. I almost get to that point at the weekend and think, whatever's stressing me before, I can't take it with me. Monday's the start, Friday's the end of the week, Monday's the start of a new week. I can't do anything over the weekend with most things just by living a conventional type life. And that's the point I'm trying to make there. Sometimes it's absolutely unnecessary to stress about these things, but what we have to do is do all the things that give us that bit of extra sort of time to do what we want. All those things I spoke about through DOdaily, all the encouragement I give is for you to make the most of situations. It's to be positive. The lengthening of the days is only going to help with that. So rather than sort of, I seen a comment yesterday, someone complaining that the lockdown restrictions weren't being released quick enough. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Because it's here now. Today is better than yesterday. For me, seeing 6 people, absolutely better than seeing very few people as I have been to this point. So it's important, isn't it? And start planning those things back in. I threw something out there to a small group I work with, really small session, of about 6. And I asked them if they wanted to pick that up again, and they jumped at the chance. And that's fantastic, isn't it? Because if that's the sort of mentality you've got, it's really, really important to sort of go at it and work with exactly what you've got for the time being. And that's all I want to say, guys. Just sort of try and evaluate where you're wasting time. I wasted time yesterday stressing. The reality is, for whatever criticism I got, it'll just drive me forward. It'll just make me more determined, so it helps in many ways. I don't like it at the time. I don't like people sort of picking at the fact I do something out of my own time. I give up a lot of my time, which is absolutely okay. I'm fine with that. I'm not sort of precious over my time. But when people criticise, sometimes it's hard to take. But the one thing it does do, it makes me sort of reevaluate, realise who is worthwhile and who is getting the most benefit from it. And to be honest, am I aiming it at the right people? And that's the important thing, isn't it? To sort of keep understanding, keep evaluating, keep learning, keep making the most of your time. Hopefully that made sense. And is going to help you throughout the week. Like I say, use some of these activities, get involved. I can assure you, you'll be feeling absolutely fantastic for it. And when we're feeling positive, we tend to do a lot more. We make the most of a time. Don't let it bog you down, because it can quickly slide away from you. I were really honest there. 20 years wasted, almost 15 probably, because in the last 5 years I've really started looking at these things. But for 15 years, I used to say I had no regrets, but I look back and think I could have done things better, and that's not a great place to be, because ultimately we don't have enough time. Nobody has enough time, and we've not got any sort of dedicated time. I don't want to be morbid, I don't want to be miserable, but when your time's up, your time's up, and we only get one go at this, so we need to give it a real go, and we need to sort of live each day almost as if it's the last, because if we don't, if we're waiting for things, if we're hanging on for better times, it doesn't come without effort and thinking about what we're doing. So like I say, listen, take things on board, keep talking, and keep active. That's the one thing that buys a lot of energy. By using energy, you make more, and that's important, isn't it? So until tomorrow, guys, and that Tuesday training, if you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, a share, keep subscribing. I'm getting there, not far off 100 now. Whilst this is all grassroots stuff, whilst I'm trying to build it steadily, I've got the time to keep doing it. I know by doing this, it refocuses me. If I didn't do this, some days it just melt away without any purpose whatsoever. So by doing this, it gives me purpose, it gets me thinking, and it gets me doing a lot more about it. So just bear that in mind, guys. Have a great evening. Make the most of this amazing weather, and I'll see you at 6 p.m. tomorrow for the brief, for the Tuesday training episode before the session at 6:30. Have a great day. Just doing it.